Hello everybody and welcome to the newest episode of Megalan7's Game Finds and Pickups. Today as a background we are using a kind of beat up Sega Genesis box. Picked this thing up from a family member who had been sitting in a basement for years, just kind of holding some Legos. But we, moved the Legos to not a Genesis box and I took this for myself. They didn't have a problem with it. It's been actually pretty dry for about a month. 2 months maybe. Haven't been finding a whole lot. It's not to say I haven't found anything. It's just I haven't been, getting a whole lot of, really good stuff. But I have been able to pick up a couple things here or there. I'll start with the most boring stuff. And that being like, just game store purchases. And I'll start with a couple things I picked up from GameStop. Decided just to kind of bulk up my Wii collection for like, dirt. And got a whole bunch of games. They sell for like $1. And with the little membership card, I got them for like 90 cents a piece. I only picked up complete games, and since they're all complete, I'm not going to bother to open them up and show you everything. These aren't games you care about anyway. Furu Park, Anubis 2, Mercury Meltdown Revolution, which actually from the back looks like it might be a fun game. Mini Desktop Racing, Ninja Breadman, and Super Fruitful. Whole lot of nothing, but just, had a couple dollars lying around and didn't really know what to do with, so I just bought some cheap Wii games. Next, we're going to have, like a placeholder. Here's a bag of Super Nintendo Kart. We're going to pretend this is Gradius 3. I was really excited to find this, because I've been looking for it for a while. And it was a price I was very willing to pay. It was only $7. This isn't Gradius 3, it's actually my Super Nintendo. Forgot to bring it up with me. But I was very happy to find it. Moving on to what I actually found along with the Gradius, I picked up a copy of Golden Sun. Let me move that back closer for the camera. There we go. I never played Golden Sun before. I've always heard it's a really good RPG for the Game Boy Advance. I also picked up Mech Warrior and Spin Dizzy, which looked like it was going to be a fun game, and then after like 5 minutes of just completely fighting with the controls, decided that it was not a fun game after all. Moving on to a different retro game store, I have a couple finds, a couple complete in box Genesis games, nothing super great, but complete in box Genesis games for cheap. Picked up Clue. I'll go ahead and open these up, I guess. Everything's there. Bubsy 2, and I showed a couple weeks ago that I got Bubsy 1, so now I have Bubsy 1 and 2 for Genesis. And I also picked up Lethal Enforcers 2 Gunfighters. This one didn't have the manual, so I guess they weren't all complete in box. I thought they were. But it was only $3, and I have the guns for Genesis, so I figured it'd be pretty fun to give it a try. At the same game store on the same day, the price that the store wanted is on here, but it's not what I paid. I haggled them down a little bit. I picked up this, which I'll probably move I don't have to move the camera. Picked up a PlayStation 1 in the box. I only wanted it because of the box. It says $19.99. I got them down to like $17, which I mostly just wanted the box, and the PS1 inside was nicer looking than the PS1 I have. So it will be a replacement. It did come with the controller, the cables, everything, manuals, all there. So I was happy to pick up the PS1 in its box for $17. It might not be the best deal, especially considering I won't play the PS1, because the PS1, I have a PS2, I have a PS3. No real reason to hook this thing up. But I was definitely happy to get a box. Same game store, different day. He had told me that, stop by in January after the new year. They typically get a whole ton of retro stuff around that time. Nothing yet. But I found a couple things that caught my interest. 1 in 64 game, Lego Racers. They only wanted, I believe it was like $5 for this. Normally the cheapest I can find it is $10, so I was happy to pick it up for $5. I picked up a couple of PS2 games they were having. This store almost has like a permanent, buy two, get a third free on PS2 and Xbox games. But I picked up Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. fumbled it a bit. It is complete. Mostly picked it up just because I am a fan of Star Wars, and it was just a Star Wars game I didn't have. A series that I loved so much until it just tried to turn to something it wasn't. We have Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. I'm a huge fan of the Tony Hawk series, Tony Hawk series, up until the last one I really liked, and I love this game to death. It was Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. After that, I really find they tried too hard to become Skate, where Tony Hawk, up until that point, was just a completely different game than Skate. But Skate was catching so much mindshare for not being Tony Hawk that Tony Hawk tried to evolve into Skate, and I really think that was the downfall of the Tony Hawk franchise. I never picked this up just because I was just so underwhelmed with Project 8 that I just never really bothered to pick this up before. So I don't know if it's good or not. I hope it's better than Project 8 was, but we'll find out. And the last game I picked up. It's a game I completely forgot I ever wanted. I played on like a PlayStation Magazine demo disc back in the day. I just never, it wasn't a game I wanted to pay like full retail for, and I just never saw it at a GameStop, or at least when I was aware of, thinking about the game. But The King of Route 66, I remember this being a really fun demo. I played it a lot, and it is complete. We'll see if my memory was correct and this game's actually, fairly solid, or if I was just an ignorant little kid. But that's it for game store pickups between GameStop and two different game stores around me that sell retro games, which really there are only two that I know of. I guess a third, but it's really just a spin-off of a second, but it's in a really bad part of town. I don't like it. Anyway, so now on to thrift stores. I have a couple nice things, and just some things that were just kind of I'll pick it up just because I haven't picked anything up in a while. The first thing, which is the most recent thing I grabbed, I was happy to see, which is Sonic Rivals for the PSP. I have Sonic Rivals 2, and it is complete, but I never had Sonic Rivals 1 just because GameStop wants $16 for it, and already having Sonic Rivals 2, I don't see much of a point to get one. They only wanted $5 at the Goodwill I found this at, so I decided now was a good time to pick it up. And as I've said in previous videos, I am a Sonic fan, so even if the game might be, kind of subpar, I thought Sonic Rivals 2 was at least an okay game, nothing special. But, I collect the series, so gotta stick with it. Probably one of the better, game finds of this pickup, at least when it comes to retro. They had 2 Super Nintendo games at a thrift store, and one of them was Super Mario Kart. And I can even show you how much I paid for it because I saw the price sticker on the back. Oh, no lighting. But you can kind of see it was only $1.99 for this thing. So I picked up a copy of Super Mario Kart for $1.99. One day I went to the same thrift store I found the Super Mario Kart. I went to where they keep all their retro Handheld Games, which is in this little basket behind a counter. And I saw there was a huge pile of games where before there was just an empty basket. And I was seeing all kinds of, colorful cards. So my mind goes, alright, either recently a whole lot of Pokemon games have been donated, or there's a lot of pirated games in there. Sure enough, there was a lot of pirated games. I was seeing all, the classic Pokemon Pyroms, Frigo Returns, Chaos Black, Lugia C, all kinds of craziness. I saw Pokemon Pearl for the Game Boy Advance, which I got a chuckle out of. But there were some actual legit games in there that I decided to pick up. Once again, nothing really super special. But this is a game I kind of like to play, on a handheld when I'm, traveling somewhere every now and then. It's a good way to burn some time. I got Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Academy. Man, my lighting is off today. Weird. Anyway, picked those up for $4 a piece. I got one more handheld game, and it took a bit of persuasion to get it. Goodwill got in a Game Boy and some games, and they were originally only selling it as a bundle for $15. It was a Game Boy Color. I already had that color, and it was kind of beat. It only had 2 games. One of them was Croc, which I don't really need that for the Game Boy Color. But the other game I did want, and I eventually convinced them to let me buy it, just it, because, they eventually decided, well, we can still sell the whole bundle for 15 and we'll still get an extra 4 out of you. Good logic on their part. But what I got was Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. Good shape and all that. The only other console I picked up, and I'm going to have to get a replacement part, but I figured it was cheap enough I'd go ahead and do it, and it did turn on. They gave me free batteries. I got a green Game Boy Pocket. The part that's missing is, of course, the battery cover. Wasn't there. I'm just going to order a new one off of eBay. But as you can see, hopefully, it does turn on. Has sound. And it was only $5, but it was like 20% off day, so I got it for like $4.50. With tax and all that. I guess now I'll show you the shame of collecting that I bought. I don't know if this is like a company-wide thing, but at least the Targets in my area will donate old stock to Goodwill, and that occasionally includes games that didn't sell. That's how I picked up my Star Wars Connect, and I've gotten a couple other games that way. And I got a couple DS games because they were only $3, and literally I only bought them because they were $3. They're sealed. I don't plan on opening them. One of them I might because it looks like it might be decent, maybe. The other two, no. They will look pretty on a shelf, I guess. The one, maybe someday I'll play. Generator Rex, Agent of Providence. And then the two, the two for shame. We have Zuzu Pet's Quest for Zoo. And Magical Zuzu Princess. Yeah, I don't plan on ever really playing these games. Like I've showed before, I got some cheap DS games. I got like Grease for the DS. Still haven't played it, have no plans to play it. But it's just, filler for my DS collection. Same with these three, really. Maybe someday if I get really bored and just want to see what they are, I'll open them. Because, it's not like these games are going to get super valuable. At least I hope not. But I have them now. Shame me if you want. You probably will anyway. There's the last 3 things I got from thrift stores. Like I said, it's been kind of dry. Got one 360 game that I changed the case out because the case for it was busted. Once again, I bought this because I see it at GameStop all the time, but they always want more than I'm willing to pay, and I found this for like $4. The disc is kind of scratched, but I have a buffer in case it doesn't work. Spider-Man 3, and it is like a Tiger Woods case it's in, but I can just take the stickers off and it'll be just fine. Books there, discs there. It was only like $4. Normally GameStop has this game for like $16 for some reason. I really like Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 was not as good as Spider-Man 2. But, for $4 I'll take it. My one mistake in my purchases, I thought I didn't have this. It turns out I did, so now it's just trade fodder or something. We got Sonic Mega Collection. I didn't think I had Mega Collection, at least not for GameCube. I know I have Mega Collection Plus for Xbox. Sorry about that, guys. I'm bad at managing space on my camera. Anyway, trying to, do this as fast as I can before I run out of time. Last thing I found, game I love, as I said earlier, Tonics American Wasteland for the GameCube. I don't think the game controller is optimal for Tony Hawk games, but I couldn't leave this sitting there for only like $4 when it is one of my favorite games I didn't have for the system. Favorite finds for this video go to these two, just because one of my favorite games and one of my favorite franchises. So I pretty much have to go with those guys. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Hopefully I'll be back soon with more finds, maybe new styles of video. Who knows? All right, peace out, guys.